Shalom. It's day 111 of Read the Bible in a Year, and we are in 2 Kings, reading chapters 19 through 22. Page 405 in the scriptures if you want to follow along. And it came to be when sovereign Hizkiyahu heard it, that he tore his garments and covered himself with sackcloth, and went into the house of Yahweh and sent Eliakim, who was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders and the priests, covering themselves with sackcloth, to Yeshayahu the prophet, son of Amoz. And they said to him, Thus said Hezekiah, this day is a day of distress and rebuke and scorn, for the children have come to birth, but there is no power to bring forth. It could be that Yahweh your Elohim does hear all the words of the Rabshakeh, whom his master the sovereign of Asher has sent to approach the living Elohim, and shall rebuke the words which Yahweh your Elohim has heard. Therefore lift up your prayer for the remnant that is left. And the servants of sovereign Hizkiyahu came to Yeshayahu, and Yeshayahu said to them, Say this to your master. Thus said Yahweh, Do not be afraid of the words which you have heard, with which the servants of the sovereign of Asher have reviled me. And Yeshayahu, just for those of you who are trying to figure that out, Yeshayahu is the prophet Isaiah. So, there you go. And something kind of cool in this Bible specifically is that it doesn't follow the same pattern that, your typical King James, New King James, NASB Bibles do. It does in the sense that Second Kings ends up with the prophets, right, speaking into the remnant. Right here we're dealing with Isaiah or Yeshayahu, and right after 2 Kings begins Isaiah, whereas other scriptures, King James, New King, all the other translations, it jumps straight into 1st and 2nd Chronicles, and then the writings into the prophets. So, there you go. Let's see. Verse 6, And Yeshayahu, or Isaiah, said to them, Say this to your master, thus said Yahweh, Do not be afraid of the words which you have heard, with which the servants of the sovereign of Asher have reviled me. See, I am putting a spirit upon him, and he shall hear a report and return to his own land, and I shall cause him to fall by the sword in his land. And the Rabshakeh returned and found the sovereign of Asher fighting against Libnah, for he had heard that he had left Lachish. Hold on. Sorry, Zadok was whining at the door, and now he's outside barking. So there's that. So, verse 9. And when the sovereign heard concerning Terakah, sovereign of Cush, see, he has come out to fight against you. He again sent messengers to Hizkiyahu, saying, Speak to Hizkiyahu, sovereign of Judah, saying, Do not let your Elohim in whom you trust deceive you, saying, Jerusalem is not going into the hand of the sovereign of Asher. See, you have heard what the sovereigns of Asher have done to all the lands by putting them under the ban. And are you going to be delivered? Have the mighty ones of the nations delivered those whom my fathers have destroyed? Gozan and Haran and Retzeph, and the sons of Eden who were in Telasar? Where is the sovereign of Hamath, and the sovereign of Arpad, and the sovereign of the city of Sepharvaim, Hena, and Iwa? And Hizkiyahu received the letters of the hand of the messengers and read them, and went up to the house of Yahweh. And Hizkiyahu spread it before Yahweh. And Hizkiyahu prayed before Yahweh and said, O Yahweh of Elohim of Israel, the one who dwells between the cherubim, you are Elohim, you alone. Of all the reigns of the earth, you have made the heavens and the earth. Incline your ear, O Yahweh, or Yahweh, and hear. Open your eyes, O Yahweh, and see, and hear the words of Sanharib. Excuse me, sorry, it is early. Which he has sent to reproach the living Elohim. Truly Yahweh, the sovereigns of Asher, have laid waste the nations and their lands, and have put their mighty ones into the fire, and they were not mighty ones. For they were not mighty ones, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone, and destroyed them. And now, O Yahweh, your Elohim, our Elohim, I pray, save us from his hands, so that all the reigns of the earth know that you are Yahweh Elohim, you alone. Then Yeshayahu, son of Amoz, sent to Hizkiyahu, saying, Thus said Yahweh Elohim of Israel, I have heard that which you have prayed to me against Sanharib, sovereign of Asher. This is the word which Yahweh has spoken concerning him. The maiden, the daughter of Sion, has despised you, mocked you. The daughter of Yerushalayim has taken her head behind you. Whom have you reproached and reviled? Against whom have you raised a voice and lifted up your eyes on high? Against the set apart one of Israel, by the hand of your messengers. Come on, turning the page. By the hand of your messengers, you have reproached Yahweh and said, With my many chariots I have come to the height of the mountains, to the sides of Lebanon, and I cut down its tall cedars, its choice cypress trees, and I enter its remotest parts, its thickest forest. I have dug and drunk strange water. With the soles of my feet I dry up all the streams of defense. Have you not heard long ago I made it? From days of old I formed it. Now I have brought it to be that you should make walled cities ruinous heaps. And their inhabitants were powerless, and they were overthrown and put to shame. They were as the grass of the field and the green plants, as the grass on the housetops, and withered before it came up. But I know you're sitting down, and you're going out, and you're coming in, and your rage against me. Because your rage against me and your pride have come up to my ears, I shall put my hook in your nose and my bridle in your lips, and I shall turn you back by the way which you came. And this is a sign for you. This year you eat what grows of itself, and in the second year what springs from that, and in the third year sow and reap and plant vineyards and eat their fruit. And the remnant who have escaped of the house of Judah shall again take root downward and be fruitful. For out of Jerusalem comes forth a remnant, and those who escape from Mount Sion. The ardor of Yahweh does this. Therefore thus said Yahweh concerning the sovereign of Asher, he does not come into this city, nor does he shoot an arrow there, nor does he come before it with shield, nor does he build a siege against it. By the way that he came, by the same he turns back. He does not come into this city, declares Yahweh. And I shall defend this city and save it for my own sake and for the sake of David my servant. And it came to be in that night that the messenger of Yahweh went out and struck in the camp of Asher 185,000. And they rose up in the morning and saw all of them dead bodies. And Sennacherib, sovereign of Asher, broke camp and went away and turned back and remained in Nineveh. And it came to be, as he was bowing himself as the house of Nisroch, his mighty one, that his sons Adramelech and Sharezer struck him with the sword, and they escaped into the land of Ararat, and his son Esarhaddon reigned in his place. Chapter 20. In those days Hezekiah was sick unto death, and Isaiah, the prophet, son of Amoz, went to him and said to him, Thus said Yahweh, command your house, for you are going to die, and not live. And he turned his face toward the wall and prayed to Yahweh, saying, I pray to you, O Yahweh, remember how I have walked before you in truth, and with a perfect heart, and have done what was good in your eyes. And Hezekiah wept bitterly. And it came to be, before Isaiah had gone out into the middle court, that the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, Return and say to Hezekiah, the leader of my people, Thus said Yahweh, the Elohim of David, your father, I have heard your prayer and have seen your tears. I am going to heal you. On the third day go up to the house of Yahweh, and I shall add to your days 15 years, and deliver you in this city from the hand of the sovereign of Asher, and shall defend this city for my own sake, and for the sake of David my servant. And Isaiah said, Take a cake of figs. And they took and laid it on the boil, and he recovered. And Hezekiah said to Isaiah, What is the sign that Yahweh does heal me, and that I shall go up to the house of Yahweh the third day? And Isaiah said, This is the sign for you from Yahweh, that Yahweh does the word which he has spoken. Shall the shadow go forward 10 degrees or go backward 10 degrees? And Hezekiah said, It would be easy for the shadow to go down 10 degrees. No, but let the shadow go backward 10 degrees. And Isaiah the prophet cried out to Yahweh, and he brought the shadow 10 degrees backward, by which it had gone down on the sundial of Ahaz. At that time, Berodach Baladan, son of Baladan, sovereign of Babel, sent letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he had learned that Hezekiah had been sick. Hezekiah listened to them and showed them all his treasure house. The silver and the gold and the spices and the precious ointment and all his armory and all that was found among his treasures. There was not an object in his house or in all his rule that Hezekiah did not show them. And Isaiah the prophet came to sovereign Hezekiah and said to him, "What did these men say, and from where did they come to you?" And Hezekiah said, "They came from a distant land, from Babel." And he said, "What have they seen in your house?" And Hezekiah answered, "They saw all that is in my house. There is not an object among my treasures that I did not show them." Oh boy. And Isaiah said to Hezekiah, "Hear the word of Yahweh. See, the days are coming when all that is in your house and what your fathers have treasured up until this day shall be brought to Babel. No objects to be left," said Yahweh. "And they are going to take away some of your sons who are to be born to you. Whom you bring forth, they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the sovereign of Babel." And Hezekiah said to Isaiah, "The word of Yahweh which you have spoken is good." And he said, "Is it not so, if peace and truth are to be in my days?" And the rest of the acts of Hezekiah and all his might, and how he made a pool and a channel and brought water into the city, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Judah? So Hezekiah slept with his fathers, and Manasseh his son reigned in his place. Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 55 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hephzibah. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahweh, according to the abominations before the abominations of the nations whom Yahweh dispossessed before the children of Israel. Chapter 21, by the way. For he turned and built the high places which Hezekiah, his father, had destroyed, and raised up slaughter places for Baal, and made an Asherah, as Ahab, sovereign of Israel, had done. And he bowed himself to all the host of the heavens and served them. And he built slaughter places in the house of Yahweh, of which Yahweh had said, "In Jerusalem I shall put my name." And he built slaughter places for all the host of the heavens in the two courtyards of the house of Yahweh, and made his son pass through the fire, and practiced magic, and used divination, and consulted spiritists and mediums. He did much evil in the eyes of Yahweh to provoke him. Mind you, all of these things are an abomination to the Most High, an abomination to Yahweh. He does not like these things, by no stretch of the imagination. Sorceries, witchcraft, abomination. He placed a carved image of Asherah that he had made in the house which Yahweh had said to David and to Solomon his son, "In this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I put my name forever. And no more shall I cause the feet of Israel to move from the soil which I gave their fathers, only if they guard to do according to all that I have commanded them, and according to all the Torah that my servant Moshe commanded them." But they did not obey. And Manasseh led them astray to do more evil than the nations from whom Yahweh had destroyed before the children of Israel. They did more evil. How about it? How surprising. And Yahweh spoke by his servants the prophets, saying, Because Manasseh, sovereign of Judah, has done these abominations, having done more evil than all the Amorites who were before him, also made Judah sin with his idols. Therefore thus said Yahweh Elohim of Israel, See, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, that both ears of those who hear of it shall tingle. And I shall stretch over Jerusalem the measuring line of Shomeron, and the plummet of the house of Ahab, and shall wipe Jerusalem as one wipes a dish, wiping it and turning it upside down. And I shall forsake the remnant of my inheritance, and give them into the hand of their enemies, and they shall be for a prey and for a plunder to all their enemies, because they have done evil in my eyes, and have provoked me since the day their fathers came out of Mitzrayim, even to this day. And also Manasseh shed very much innocent blood, until he had filled Jerusalem from one end to the other, besides his sin with which he made Judah sin, in doing evil in the eyes of Yahweh. And the rest of the acts of Manasseh, and all that he did, and the sin that he committed, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Judah? So Manasseh slept with his fathers, and was buried in the garden of his own house, in the garden of Uzzah, and his son Amon reigned in his place. Amon was 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 2 years in Jerusalem. And the name of his mother was Meshullemeth, the daughter of Harutz. Sorry, if my dog's not whining inside, he's barking outside. If he's not barking outside, he's setting off the driveway dinger sensor thing. My gosh. Anyways, I don't have the slightest idea where I am. I think it's 21 verse 19. There we go. Chapter 21 verse 19. Amon was 22 years old when he had began to reign, and reigned 2 years in Jerusalem. And the name of his mother was Meshullemeth, the daughter of Harutz of Yotabah. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahweh, as his father Manasseh had done, and walked in all the ways that his father had walked, and served idols that his father had served, and bowed himself to them, and forsook Yahweh Elohim of his fathers, and did not walk in the way of Yahweh. And the servants of Ammon conspired against him, and killed the sovereign in his own house. But the people of the land struck all those who had conspired against the sovereign Ammon, and the people of the land set up his son Yoshayahu to reign in his place. And the rest of the acts of Ammon which he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Judah? And he was buried in his burial place in the gardens of Uzzah. And his son Yoshayahu reigned in his place. Chapter 22. And Yoshayahu was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Yedidah, the daughter of Adiah of Botzkath. And he did what was right in the eyes of Yahweh, and walked in all the ways of his father David, and did not turn aside right or left. And it came to be in the 18th year of the sovereign Yoshayahu, that the sovereign sent Shaphan the scribe, son of Atzaliahu, son of Meshullam, to the house of Yahweh, saying, Go up to Hilkiyahu the priest, and let him weigh the silver which has been brought into the house of Yahweh, which the doorkeepers have gathered from the people, and let them give it to the hand of those doing the work, who are the overseers of the house of Yahweh, and let them give it to those who are in the house of Yahweh, doing the work, to strengthen the breach of the house. To carpenters, and to builders, and to stonemasons, and to buy timber and hewn stone, to strengthen the house. However, let not the silver given into their hand be reckoned with them, for they are acting trustworthily. And Hilkiah the priest said to Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the Torah of the house of Yahweh. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. And Shaphan the scribe came to the sovereign and brought word to the sovereign, saying, Your servants have gathered the silver and was found in the house, or that was found in the house, and have given it into the hand of those who do work, who oversee the house of Yahweh. And Shaphan the scribe informed the sovereign, saying, Hilkiah the priest has given me a book. And Shaphan read it before the sovereign, and it came to be when the sovereign heard the words of the book of the Torah, that he tore his garments. And the sovereign commanded Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam, son of Shaphan, and Akbor, son of Micaiah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Asaiah, a servant of the sovereign, saying, Go inquire of Yahweh for me, for the people, and for all Judah, Yehudah, concerning the words of this book that has been found, for great is the wrath of Yahweh that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not obeyed the words of this book, to do according to all that is written concerning us. And Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam, and Akbor, and Shaphan, and Asaiah went to Huldah the prophetess, the wife of Shallum, son of Tikvah, son of Haras, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she was dwelling in Jerusalem in the second quarter, and they spoke with her. And she said to them, Thus said Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, say to the man who sent you to me, Thus said Yahweh, See, I am bringing evil on this place and on its inhabitants. All the words of the book of the sovereign of Judah has read, because they have forsaken me, and burned incense to other mighty ones to provoke me with all the works of their hands. So my wrath shall be kindled against this place, and not be quenched. To the sovereign of Judah, who you sent to inquire of Yahweh, say this to him, Thus said Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, As for the words which you have read, because your heart was tender, and you humbled yourself before Yahweh when you heard what I spoke against this place, and against its inhabitants, that they would become a ruin and a curse, and have torn your garments and wept before me, I also have heard, declares Yahweh. Therefore see, I am gathering you to your fathers, and you shall be gathered to your burial site in peace, so that your eyes do not see all the evil I am bringing on this place. And they brought word to the sovereign. All right. 19 through 22. Bless you. Shalom. Tomorrow we'll wrap up 2 Kings 23 through 25. Shalom.